Welcome to City Girls with Country Roots. And today we're going to talk about what happens when probably the squash vine borer has gotten into your plant, as well as some of the things you probably could do to prevent it. And we're going to also fertilize another one of our squashes with, ta-da, its own flower. So let's just kind of go ahead and get on into this video. And one thing to notice is that when you tend to have squash vine borer damage, it comes from looking down here along your root stems. As you can see, this plant is starting to kind of have a little bit of attack. I'm not going to pull it just yet, just because I see where we're still getting flowers and blooms. And right here, let's zoom in. You can see that we do have a little baby fruit that's coming on. So I want to see if that's going to actually pull through. This plant here, if you all remember in a previous video, was so big and was so gorgeous. And I do think between the heat that came through, as well as being attacked by the squash vine borer, I think that has really caused this plant a lot of damage. Am I going to leave it in here? Probably not. I will probably end up actually pulling this one out. There's no need to even try to get on the save a plant plan at this point in time. You just know that when you're growing stuff like squashes and zucchini, that's a possibility. 9 times out of 10, if I was to cut this open in here, you will find it's lava and worm, because look at that. Yes, I definitely know just from years of experience of looking at this. And plus, look, there's a squash bug. Can you see it already growing on there? Let's see if we can zoom out and find him. He might be blending in. So let's see if we can sit here and find where he's at. You should be there, right there. See him as he's crawling up my vine? So yeah, this plant will be taken out. And I might just put another one in later out in my main garden. But this plant is basically dead. It's done. Even though it still has like little fruits and different things and everything. But we do have a wonderful squash bug that is on there. I do see where this plant is done. It's over. It's just not going to happen. So probably what I'm going to do in this pot is I'm going to go ahead and pull this one out. And I'm just going to replace it actually with some green beans. I'm going to probably plant these, I think they're called Kalima and Contender bush beans. I'm just going to replace them in here automatically and everything. But now, first, the original dieback of the leaves was just normal dieback. But as you can see, it has something more going on inside, and that tells me it's definitely squash vine borer. This one here has a little bit of yellow into the leaves. And one thing, since now I've seen that squash bug, I'm going to really start checking under my leaves to see if I see where they have little eggs or something going on under there. I'm also going to check down around the stems of these plants, because a lot of times when the squash vine borer comes out, well, the borer is actually inside. Let me make a real quick correction. The borer itself is inside. The thing that looks like that actually lays the little golden eggs, which is like right here. I don't even know if I can zoom in clear enough for you all to see what I'm getting ready to talk about. But there's like this little, there it is. You see that little golden egg right there? That is laid by the, it's like a fly. He's actually like a red, brown, and black fly. And sometimes he looks like a little moth. He comes through and he'll lay that on there. And what happens is, then it'll hatch and it bores through your plant. And on the inside, it has like this little grub-looking worm that gets in there. and everything. So you say, okay, City Girl, what can we do in order to help prevent that from happening? One thing that I have found, but I didn't do it this year, is that sometimes I will take aluminum foil, especially once my plants get up to a certain size, unlike what I haven't done this year, and I'll take and wrap around this part here. And I'll wrap it up, not real tight, but tight enough to where he can't lay the eggs, which then will help prevent the borer from getting in there. Also, another thing that I like to do is I will get me some of that diatomaceous earth and kind of like sprinkle it along here too. That tends to help out a lot as well with keeping down on some of the other insects. Sometimes even a little bit of the squash bugs. But the squash bugs themselves, I've found, they're just a horrible being. I don't care almost what you do. If you grow squash, zucchini, basically pumpkins, which a lot of people get confused that pumpkins, yes, are actually a squash. You still usually are going to get that wonderful squash bug that's going to show up. It's whether or not you prevent the vine borer. So I will be pulling this plant out, getting rid of it. The other ones are doing fairly okay. And so what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to actually come through with some of my fish and worm tea and go ahead and water them. But that's for a whole different video, because when I do that, I'm also going to take care of some of my tomato plants that are in these containers and everything that have gotten hit by the drought as well that came through that big heat droughty way. But as I told you, we're going to use this beautiful flower here, and we're going to actually use it to fertilize this one here. See? And how you know, once again, this is a female because it has fruit behind it. Whereas when you have a male, they have no fruit behind their stems. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and kind of shift this out of here. I saw a little bee down in one of them earlier, so I'm not sure if he's gotten a hold of that one or not. And when you have one that hasn't been good and pollinated, that's what it looked like. And the only reason why so far that I haven't cut that off is because the less that I give off a scent of my squashes and zucchinis being over here, the better to kind of get away from the vine borers and everybody else. But they still eventually find them. That's why it's good is sometimes to do what's called intercropping, where you crop certain vegetables in with different vegetables, so that way, it throws off the scent. So, okay, here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and hopefully you can see this real good, but I'm going to take this here, and I'm going to introduce it to the vulva of this plant. And a lot of times it helps when this is open a little bit more in order to do that. But for now, I am just going to get in here and just kind of work this all around inside of here. And so it really helps when this is actually open and you can really do a complete introduction of that to that one. I'm going to walk around a little bit and see if I have any more that might be open. And I know you're like, okay, good Lord, she's cross-pollinating. When you think about it, really when you have your wonderful Mother Nature helpers, they cross-pollinate for you all the time unless you're literally growing just the exact same plant. And that's okay, because when you're into this here, it's going to do that automatically. They're going to take, nectar from this plant to that plant to help it grow. So far, I don't see any other one that has a female on it, but I do see this. See, that is how it's growing so well in my container back here. I have a squash that was actually fertilized by the bees and not me. And I actually am fortunate, I see another one. So there we go. So hopefully too, they'll get in there and do some more work. And that's basically, it's real simple. You can do that method you can use, let's say, like the Q-tips. You can use a toothbrush or whatever. But, I hope this helps you to know, like, some things that you can do to help maybe prevent getting the squash vine borer down into your squashes and into your pumpkins, zucchinis, and all that great stuff. And also, too, is to help with fertilization of some of your other plants and everything. I hope that really, gives you some ideas. So this one is going to be taken out, and we're just going to replace it with a thing of green beans. I'm not going to worry about replacing it up here, because as all of these start to die back and lose them, they will be replaced with other crops. Probably like some greens. I'll probably put some collard greens in some. I'll probably put some broccoli plants in another one. So that way the containers could continue to, still work and everything. But, as you stay along with me and you see as we go throughout the season, you'll see the different things that I will have growing in these containers. Well, once again, thank you for joining me. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my videos. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. All right, now, be safe. Bye-bye.